Hi, my name is Danielle Glosson. I'm in the Masters of Entrepreneurship program at Western Carolina University. Today I will be going over the ideal client for the Circle training facility. So who is the target market? I have two target markets. The primary target market is young female athletes aged 10 to 18 years old in the Western North Carolina region. So these are the ones who are going to be performing the skills and trying to get into college and play college softball. The secondary target market is 35 to 60-year-old adults who have a child interested in playing softball. So this is the child's parents, guardians, grandparents, anyone who's paying their way to be able to go to the training facility. So the great thing about college softball is that the athlete is not restricted on a certain body type or appearance. Um, as long as you can do a skill very well, the game of softball is about team. And so if you can have a diverse group of athletes who can do certain things, so if you have kids that are really fast or kids that are strong and big and powerful who can hit for power, it's awesome because, sports like basketball, normally you want tall, lanky guys who can shoot over their defenders, and for football, especially like the offensive line, I mean, they've got to be big dudes, people who you can't really move around very easily. So the great thing about softball is that you can have all sorts of athletes, different body types that can help you win. So for this sport, parents have got to be financially stable. This it demands a higher income from families. Just for equipment and exposure alone, you're looking at potentially $6,000 a year. To give you an idea, a softball bat right now goes anywhere from $350 to $500, depending on the make, model, year, that kind of thing. Same thing for gloves. You're looking at about $200 for a glove. Cleats, you need cleats, and then just to be on a team in the summer that gets that kind of college exposure, they have team fees as well as like all the tournaments they charge the teams to just get into the tournament. So that, I mean, that can be part of your team fee, but it's a lot of money. And then you look at, okay, the cost of travel and lodging and food and things like that to go to these tournaments on the weekends just to get your kid exposed in front of college coaches. It can be very costly. So the geographics, we're looking at right now that the athlete currently lives a maximum of a 3-hour radius from Asheville. So that really reaches out to a lot of different states. So the fact that Asheville is pretty centralized between South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, Virginia makes us pretty marketable. All right, what do they think, and what do they want? How do they think? We're looking at the psychographics here. The young athlete, she wants to play college softball. She's motivated through positive reinforcement and enjoys making her parents proud. Getting that response out of your parents or your coach is really accomplishing for a young athlete. The parents, on the other hand, they all want their child to be a superstar, and they might be living vicariously through their children if they were an athlete in college or were very successful in softball or baseball. So it might not be the case for all parents, but at least whenever the athletes are younger, they definitely have too high of expectations and tend to become unrealistic in the child's future, which can impede them from reaching their goals. It can lead to behaviors that maybe a college coach doesn't want to see, where they're making excuses or being persistent in a way that it's just that goal is just not there. So the behavior graphics for this target market, the children and the adults, they're both impatient. They want those immediate, instant gratification results, and sometimes they're in need of a reality check. So for us at the training facility, there's multiple levels of college softball, and sometimes everyone wants to go to Oklahoma, who just won the national championship, and unfortunately, athletes are not up to par with their skills or mentality, athleticism, and so sometimes they can become pretty unrealistic when there's plenty of opportunities for a junior college, Division III, Division II, Division I, and then you have a mix between each of those divisions. So for Division I, you have mid-major schools, which is kind of like Western Carolina, and then you have the Power Five conferences, which is the SEC, the Pac-12, those kind of schools. And so um, there's a place for everyone to play college softball, but a lot of people target their goal a little bit too high and become unrealistic, especially when the kids are younger. So the market, what are we looking at? What can we reach? So in Asheville right now, the total population is 83,393, with a female population of 44,000, and ages 5 through 19, we have about close to 6,000 young female athletes that we can attract. High schools in the Western North Carolina region. So there's 5 conferences. You've got the Western North Carolina Athletic 2A, 3A Conference, the Western Highlands 1A, 2A, the South Mountain Athletic 2A, 3A, the Smoky Mountain 1A, and the Mountain Athletic 3A, 4A. So that combines to be about 42 teams. And if you think about that, there's 15 players on a team, which could be pretty slim for some high school teams. You're looking at about 630 athletes in high school, just in the Western North Carolina region. And then if you add into there, let's just say we double that for middle school, and maybe that's a little high just because I don't know if there'd be that many conferences for middle school, but you could potentially be around 1,000 to 1,500 athletes for the market just that's registered to go to school and that is interested in playing the sport. So then we look at summer leagues and travel ball. So that's what I was talking about, the fees that you pay to be on the team, and then they go to different tournaments and have to pay that fee to just be entered into the tournament. So ASA, and that's the Amateur Softball Association, they register over 245,000 softball teams and comprise more than 3.5 million players. And now this is across the country, but more than 83,000 youth girls fast pitch teams with over 1.2 million girls. So the market is very big nationally, and specifically the Circle would like to tap into the Western North Carolina region, but the fact that we talked about that 3-hour radius from the facility, Atlanta, Chattanooga, South Carolina, and some parts of Virginia, you're looking at a pretty big market that's relatively close to the Asheville area. And then we can look at the recreational league. So you have 4 parks with 7 age divisions. So we're looking at East Asheville, South Asheville, Candler, and Brevard. So there's definitely a large market for the Circle to tap into. So what are their frustrations? And I really enjoyed doing this exercise because being a college coach, I know the frustrations that I might have gone through as a player and some of the frustrations I see or hear when the kids get to me in college, but I definitely wanted to reach out and try to get a mix of both markets or both targets and talk with some of the parents who go to a training facility and who pay the kids' way to be there. And then talking to some of the athletes themselves, like what they experience when they go to these training facilities and what all that they're looking for. So it was an awesome exercise, and what I found is that for the most part, they lack personalization and that one-on-one time with the athlete. The instructors are so spread out. You're looking at, going to a hitting coach here and then going to a strength and conditioning coach, 30 miles away from them, and then you're going somewhere else for this other aspect of the game. And so the instructors are so spread out, and they're really in need of a one-stop shop, so to speak. Some of the staff or the trainers lack knowledge, and this is a pretty fast-growing market, so a lot of people are trying to get into it that may not be qualified. So that can be a frustration. And then the lack of honest feedback from those staff members or trainers. These kids they're unrealistic, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I feel like that once you establish that trust with them, that they really do respect your opinion, and instead of continuing to try to get them to be a repeat customer, it shouldn't be all about the income and it shouldn't be all about the money, because they really respect your opinion. And if they're not good enough to play Division I college softball, then you should give them better routes. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to leave your facility. That just means that you truly care about them as a person and as an athlete, and they need to know that if they're not good enough, they need that honest feedback. And if you see something that they could fix, you need to let them know instead of just taking people's money. So that was kind of a concern or a frustration. And then a couple of other, more minor frustrations is just out of date or broken equipment. Hopefully, the circle will never really have to deal with that, and if we do, it'd be a pretty quick fix. And then small space and clutter. So you get sometimes these indoor facilities that are pretty small, and you're trying to get your full team in there, and it's hard to really run anything or see a projection of the ball or things like that because of the space. So what's the remedy? How do we fix this? Well, the Circle Training Facility is a one-stop shop. It is all-inclusive. It'll include nutrition, strength and conditioning, sports psychology, and skill training. We'll only employ certified instructors and experienced players or coaches. So we're going to have a certified strength coach. We'll have a certified dietitian and a psychologist. And so these people are going to have to be paid more money, which is why we feel like that this market will pay a premium to get the coaches and instructors that we're going to employ. We do specialize in personalization and being part of a family. So we do care about our athletes and want them to be successful in college. And so each plan is going to be personalized. So the nutritionist will be talking with the strength and conditioning coach, and they'll be talking with the skill trainer on what kind of skills they need to work on. And so it'll be a constant communication amongst the trainers of how to get this kid better. And then we're a business who genuinely wants their clients to be successful and reach their goals of playing college softball. We talked about that. And then we plan to take advantage of establishing that trust and relationship through social media. So early on in the process, before the grand opening of the facility, really trying to get a good amount of clientele and feedback, and constantly post and put out there our remedy for their frustrations, and hopefully attract a lot of young college softball players, potential college softball players. So thank you guys for listening to my Ideal Client Screencast, and I'm super excited to potentially get this thing going. It looks like we've got a great market to work with, and a lot of the frustrations that we can eliminate through our one-stop shop, so to speak. Thank you.